Hello, I'm Chris, and welcome back to Backwoods Bourbon. This weekend we was able to go spend some time with some family in Hamilton, Ohio, and we were able to do a little bourbon hunting on the way. Then I'll do my little intro thing. Our reason for visiting Ohio this weekend was a couple family members had bought a new house and they were having a housewarming shower. And another family member had just moved into a home like a month before, and they really didn't have a shower. So we decided that we would go and we took a few gifts, but most of all, pertaining to the channel, was we took 2 bottles of Eagle Rare for the men of the house. One is not necessarily a bourbon guy, but we're kind of hoping to get him started. So I bought him a set of Glens and a bottle of Eagle Rare. He ended up getting several other bottles through other visitors. The one nephew, he already had somewhat of a bourbon collection, so we just added a bottle to his. But on the way up, we stopped at a couple stores, and then we stopped at a store up there. One of the problems I'm having is a lot of these stores we stop at, the person working at the counter isn't sure where the owner stands on letting you film, and I'm not able to visit stores apparently when the owner or the manager is there. So, most are saying they'd rather me not film. So I don't know exactly what to do moving forward about, filming inside the stores. But until then, I guess we'll just kind of go over what we find and where we found it at. The very first store we stopped at, we found Heaven Hill's Bottled and Bond. I'd found this bottle a couple times locally, but it was kind of secondary priced, and I really didn't want to give secondary price. This place actually had it for just over MSRP. It was a few dollars over, but not enough that it really bothered me. But we did manage to get a pretty nice bottle there for another just over MSRP. We was able to find the Old Fit 7-year bottle in bond. And this bottle I've actually looked for quite a while. This is a shelfer that doesn't seem to be on any shelves. They had it a few dollars over the MSRP, like I said, but it's one of the few that I found that was very reasonable. So I went ahead and picked this up, and we'll probably crack this on the video. I figure if anything, at the store we wouldn't get to enjoy drinking them, so we may just do that here. Once we made it to Ohio and got settled in, one of the couples still needed to move a few things out of a garage, so I tagged along with them, helped them move, and on the way back, we stopped at Newnham Wine and Spirits right there in Hamilton, Ohio, and just so happened they too had Heaven Hill, exactly MSRP. So I decided to go ahead and just pick up a backup bottle. One of the questions I have is this little insignia is different on each bottle. And then this one has a Heaven Hills Distillery band, and this one doesn't. So I don't know if there's a difference in the bottles. The labeling is exactly the same, except on the back, you'll notice the back sticker is in 2 different locations. So one is an Ohio bottle and one is actually a Kentucky bottle, and I'm just curious why they'd be a little different. The stickers are the same sticker. It's the same barcode, but for some reason there are just a couple subtle differences, and I really don't know exactly what that's for. And it's probably ridiculous to buy the same bottle on the same Bourbon Hunt, but You know, these are hard to find, and when you do find them, I found them somewhat locally for $125 a bottle. I was not going to pay that, but at $45, I'll pick a couple of these up. Last but not least, the bottle that I'm probably the most excited to find, and you can tell it's already been opened, but the Joseph Magnus Cigar Blend. They actually had this at Noonan's on the shelf at retail. I saw Bruce will talk about this bottle a lot, and he usually at his events that he goes to, if this bottle's available, a lot of times he will pick this if a few things that he really wanted, like if there's a Russell's 15 or a Fitz decanter series that's really old, like he'll probably take that first, but this is one of the first bottles he chooses after a couple of those unicorn bottles leave. And retail, this is a very affordable bottle, and usually I'm not big on finished stuff, but after tasting this, I'm afraid it's going to send me spiraling down a rabbit hole with buying a few things of finished bourbons. So let's try a few of these and see what we got. That's not a fresh crack. I actually let a few people have a pour of this while we were visiting, and I probably could have did a fresh crack on this one, but I really hate to have two bottles open. And you know, according to Heaven Hills, this is kind of paying tribute to the Heaven Hills bottled and bond release from 1939. It quickly became the best-selling bourbon in Kentucky at that time. So let's dive into this. It's definitely a wheated mash bill. It's very sweet. Get some red fruitiness, a little cinnamon, really pleasant to the nose. The palate really doesn't reflect the nose to a T. It's a little different on the taste. The fruitiness is still there. Pretty sweet. Really good drink. One thing I'm anxious to see is the Old Fitz is basically Heaven Hills also, and it's 7 years also. So I'm curious if there's a real difference between those. Really good. So I think we do this. Fresh Glen. Let's pop this easy to find shelfer and kind of see if there's a noticeable difference between these, or if they tend to be a lot the same. This one is a fresh crack, so we'll kind of see how this cork is. Really good. Okay. Let's see what the noses are like between them. This being a fresh crack may play a little into this, but this has only been opened about 30 hours, so not real long. Get smared of that. All right, a definite, distinct difference in noses. This one, there's a little bit, you get the ethanol just a little bit more than this one. After putting them side by side, this one's really sweet, but there's also just a touch of a sour note, and not like a Warheads type sour, but like a Granny Smith type sour, like a pleasant sour. But they do carry the same profile, but they are a little different. See what the Old Fitz tastes like. Well, that's pretty good. That's almost an oxymoron that you're tasting. It's subtle but bold. Really good lingering finish. The mid is phenomenal. Finish is still going. Still going. Still going. Still going. Kind of coming down. Really good long finish. It's honestly, a lot of the reviews I saw from this made me think, mid, but honestly, that's pretty special. There's a lot going on there. Two totally different drinks. It's like you can buy two pair of jeans, like Levi's Strauss 505 versus 550. You can tell they're both Levi Strauss, but like one's going to fit you better. That's kind of what I'm getting there. When you try them side by side, there's definitely a little sour note that carries on through the palate too. It just kind of hits a little different. This is more, I don't know how to really explain it, but it's mellow, but it's really bold. And as the drink's happening toward the mid, it really gets intense. And it holds that for a little bit, and then through the finish, it just kind of tapers off smooth. The Heaven Hill, its flavors more streamlined, like kind of when it enters your mouth, it's what you have. Through the mid, it's not hardly as accelerated. It just kind of it comes in at a level and then kind of just walks up and then falls off. The finish is much shorter. The flavors are a lot more streamlined. It's not hardly as complex as this. This has, the Old Fitz has a little more complexity. And from what I gather, these are the same mash bill. But from where they're placed in the rick house, what floor, does it see sunlight, does it not see sunlight? There's a lot can change a mash bill. So if these two bottles are on your list, don't feel like you're buying the same bottle. There is a distinct difference in flavor. And you know, it's weird. They're both 7 years old. The same mash bill, and same distillate. Distilled spring of 2018. Definitely. Last but not least, we need to have a little taste of this. And you know, it's weird, like this bottle, it MSRP's kind of high. You know, it's 160 to 199 depending on where you can find it. But you know, I feel I may be a little spoiled, but I kind of feel like for $150 MSRP, the synthetic cork's really not a nice addition to a bottle that kind of carries that much of an MSRP, and it has quite a following. And Heaven Hill's real cork on that, and definitely I noticed the old Fitz seems to be real cork also. This is pretty special. I had a taste of this already. Not today, but I shared it with some of the friends over the weekend. There's definitely some vanilla, some leather, a little tobacco note. And I'm not a professional, but those you can pick up pretty easy. And I kind of wanted to try these in this order because 100 proof, and I think this is like 113, 114. Best I remember. Let's see. Yeah, kind of in that range. This is actually a little lower proof than most of these bottles come. I've saw some people's are up to 130. Wow, that's good. Right off the rip, you get like a dried apricot, fruity, and there's some toffee in that nose too. Really nice drink. I know you probably can't see it, but boy, it's got legs. It's thick and viscous. This is actually, it being a finished whiskey, I'm not, like I said earlier, I'm not really a fan of a finished whiskey, but this is finished in a few different things. Sherry, cognac, Armagnac, I guess is how you pronounce it. And it's very subtle. I guess there's a fruity finish that probably, you know, a really trained bourbon drinker would pick up on, but like it's so close to just a really good bourbon that nothing, it's not astringent, it's not tannic, it's very smooth, and I think it gives a little fruity finish to that end that just makes it better. But this is a bottle that I'll I'll probably try to find a backup bottle for, because I really want to share this with a lot of friends. And speaking of that, you know, to me, the whole reason for having any of this is to share with your friends. It's really not a lot of fun to enjoy this alone. I really enjoy getting time to spend this, getting time to spend with my buddies and sharing bottles. Like the guy that let me borrow the bottle of Star Hill Farms for the last blind, he's been looking for this and he couldn't find it. So I was able to find it. I kind of wanted it too, but tomorrow or the next day, I want to take this bottle over and let him have a pour or two of it and kind of see what he thinks. I'd like for him to try it against the Heaven Hills bottle and bond, and he was the one that kind of introduced me to this bottle and made me want a bottle for myself. I really appreciate everybody like watching and commenting and subscribing and all that stuff. We've managed to scrape up a few more subscribers, and I'm really enjoying this journey. I've not done this for a really long time. Jimbo and a couple guys I work with got me involved. I've always kept a bottle or two at home. Jimbo bought me a bottle of rare breed about 7-8 years ago, and I've always kept a bottle or two, but here of late we've kind of bought a few more, but it's been so fun to conversate with friends and share what you're finding when you go out to find bottles. And with our job, we get to travel quite a bit. So like guys I work with in different districts, it's cool to, as they're bourbon hunting, they're sending me bottles they're finding, and it's interesting to really see from Pennsylvania to Ohio to Texas that the real difference in what they're finding and what we have here. And being from southeastern Kentucky, we're probably blessed with some of the best bourbon in the world, and I'm thankful for it. And I've also opened my eyes to realize that good bourbon comes from a lot of places. Texas has got good bourbon. Missouri, loving a lot of stuff out of Missouri. Don't be a bourbon snob. Like, try it all. Indiana, MGP's put out some of the best bourbon you'll ever find. I'm not really a fan of their younger stuff, but the older stuff is fantastic. But again, thank you for watching the channel. I hope you enjoy it. We're going to keep trying to put out a couple videos a week. We've managed, I think this will be 4 or 5 that we've put out, and I think it's officially 2 weeks old. But I hope you join us next time, and appreciate you stopping by.